Listen, there's nobody in the world who's more excited about OLEDs than me, so I've been keeping track of every single option on the market, and one such option I made a video about not too long ago. There have been some images, as you can see here, that make it look like the 32-inch and 27-inch versions coming out from Samsung are gonna be matte. They're not stupid, guys. They're not gonna ruin their displays. And oh, how wrong I was, as I did get a chance to get hands-on with these monitors over at CES, and I gotta tell you guys, get ready, it's rough, because listen, there's only so quote-unquote bad an OLED, 4K 240Hz monitor can be, because that's what we're talking about here. It's quantum OLED as well, so the colors are gonna be amazing. I mean, overall, is this monitor gonna be bad? No, it's not, and it would be absolutely ridiculous for me to say so, but compared to the other options that are going to be available using the same quantum OLED panel coming from MSI, ASUS, Gigabyte, and probably many others, this one is going to be one you're probably going to want to avoid, and I don't like saying that, but it's true, because when I had hands-on at CES, like I mentioned, yes, I can confirm it does have a matte finish. So yeah, get your puking out now. Let's just get it over with, because that's going to be the reality for this specific display. Again, this is not going to be the reality for basically every single other one on the market as far as I'm aware. They're all going to be using the typical quantum OLED glossy panel. Now that thing has its own problems, to be honest with you. I think that traditional LG TV glossy panels and Gorilla Glass are not only even slightly more clear, but also handle reflections far, far better than the quantum OLED glossy option. However, they can look good. You put them in a dark area, a light-controlled room where at the very least you're not shining light in front of the display. I mean, you can have some behind it, and they do look very, very good. They look very clear, they look very crisp. It looks honestly excellent. However, a matte finish is a display which, no matter the environment, is always going to look awful. And I think this picture goes a long way in explaining why that's the case. But of course, the reason why is because that texturing on top of the monitor, which diffuses light all over the screen, is going to lower the perceived contrast, as well as just make it look washed out a little bit. It's not going to pop in terms of color as much, in my experience. And the worst part about it is it makes a very clear image look very, very muddy and just gross. And if there's any amount of substantial light coming out of the display or hitting the display, it's also going to look oily wherever that hits as well. So this is just a terrible, awful finish. It's something you would never, never want to apply to anything you'd be looking through. I mean, would you have a matte finish on your car's window? No, you wouldn't, because that would be insane. You're trying to see through it, so you want it to be clear. The same goes for monitors, and unfortunately, that's just not the case for a ton of monitors on the market, and this is another one of them. Now, there are degrees to how bad a matte coating can be, and I'll say that this is definitely one of the least bad ones I've seen, but honestly, that's not saying a whole lot. I mean, a matte finish is a matte finish, no matter how good or bad it is. It's gonna be bad. It's just not gonna look good, and there's absolutely nothing you can do to make it look good. Even in a fully dark room, it's still gonna look awful. So yes, I would not buy this display, because despite the facts that the actual specs themselves are going to be really, really good, that 4K 240Hz quantum OLED panel is amazing, I would go ahead and buy that same panel from another manufacturer who is using the flawed but still much better glossy quantum OLED typical coating that you can get a far better image out of. So yeah, just with my time hands-on on the display, I felt that it was pretty washed out compared to the other ones that I looked at, and it just didn't look anywhere near as good. And I'll be honest with you, anybody who says otherwise is gonna be in one of two camps, in my opinion. Well, maybe three. Either one, they're coping. Two, they probably need to be wearing glasses, and I'm being genuine here. Or three, they're trying to sell the display to you, whether it be a actual manufacturer itself or someone who's reviewing it. If they think that it quote unquote looks good, they're trying to sell the display, because believe me, it doesn't. Whether you're looking to connect a new console, gaming PC, or just need a fast and reliable HDMI cable to connect over long distances, Rupro has you covered with their certified 8K HDMI 2.1 fiber optic cable available in sizes of up to 50 feet and can deliver a perfect full 48 gigabits per second connection over distances other cables could only dream of reaching. And with 48 gigabits per second of bandwidth, it can easily drive 8K 60 FPS or 4K 144 FPS 10-bit HDR video through its ultra-thin, flexible, and durable housing, and it even supports ER. So if you're in the market for a cable that can drive a beautiful new TV or monitor, be sure to check out Rupro on Amazon today.